Today we're going to be looking at the LEGO Icons, Ideas and Architecture sets retiring by the middle of 2024 and which ones look good for collecting or investing. We'll kick things off with LEGO Ideas and the worst ROI forecasted over the next 3 years. It's the Globe number 21332. Now this one only has a 26% ROI based off of the RRP. Having said that, it has been heavily discounted up to sort of 30% as I've featured in my Deals of the Week videos. So if you pick it up for that, it then looks pretty good. Retail price on this one being £200, $230, €230. Now, more than anything, this is just a good collector's piece. It's obviously something a little bit different and it's really good fun to have a globe. After all, this way you can look at all of the fantastic places around the world that you won't be able to afford to go to because you spend all of your spare money on plastic Lego bricks. I do like it though, it's one of my favourite sets and it will be going by the middle of this year. Next up, we will have to wave goodbye to the Treehouse. This is 21318, retail price being £215, $250 and €250. It is quite pricey, although does come with a huge amount of detail, lots of good parts, and I just think it's a really nice looking build. I've always liked this one. I just think that it has missed out simply because there are so many other sets in themes that people are more dedicated to, that having to pay this sort of price does mean that some people will have obviously looked elsewhere. Now, because of that, perhaps the ROI attached to this over the next 3 years is averaging at 29%, which certainly isn't too shabby. Overall, this does make for a really good building experience and it does look fantastic on display, and is just one of those sets that is also really fun to play with too. Next up, we have the Typewriter, set 21327, retail price £215, €250 and the same in dollars. I've always loved this set. I think it's a good fun one. After all, why was the office floor wet? Because the typist. God, that's a terrible pun. Anyway, it is 1:1 scale. It's a great looking thing, obviously a bit niche. I remember using a typewriter. There's a lot of nostalgia in this set and such a cool design. So if it's your sort of thing, I wouldn't miss out. Again, it'll be going in the next sort of 4 to 5 months. And the ROI is not shabby either, 31% forecast over the next 3 years. Then lastly, for the Ideas line, it is time to rock on, or indeed rock out. The Fender Stratocaster, this is set 21329, is going to be going as well by around the middle of this year. Not a bad price for this one, retail £105, $120, €120. And there's quite a lot going on with it. You can even open up the amplifier and see inside the motherboard. So lots of intricacies, not the biggest of sets, but a pretty decent size actually for the price point. And once again, we've been able to see this on discount quite recently. This also has a 31% ROI attached to it, and already being hard to find, it will be retiring soon. Next up though, it's LEGO Icons, and who you gonna call? That's right, it's Ghostbusters. The Ecto one is also going by around the middle of this year. I think it's later this month that the new movie comes out, Frozen Empire, but within the next sort of 4 to 5 months, this will be disappearing off of shelves. We've had far too little in the way of Ghostbuster sets, so don't miss out on this one. Hopefully, if the rumours are true, we'll be getting some new things coming our way, at least some brickheads. But until that happens, this is going to have to satisfy that ghostly itch. Now, the retail price isn't too bad on this one, £210, $240 and €240 as well. Of course, it has been available on a fairly decent discount too, so make sure to try and pick it up for less than that retail price. If you do that, the investment comes a bit more attractive, 26% forecast based off of that RRP over the next 3 years. For me though, this is all about being a fantastic collector's item. If you're a Ghostbusters fan, you don't want to miss out on this one, that's for sure. That said, if you fancy something a little more out of this world, NASA's Space Shuttle Discovery, set number 10283, may be for you. Retail price is £170 or $200, €200. And whilst LEGO has just given us a bunch of new space sets along the City line, and with more to come, none of them are coming close to this. This really is something special, and demand for this is purely going to go up and up, with a forecasted ROI of 31%, making this look like a pretty good investment indeed. As for being a collector's piece, that's fairly obvious. Anybody who's into space, the Discovery Shuttle or the Hubble telescope are going to want to get their hands on this. Okay, it's not just for LEGO fans, this is one of those sets that crosses boundaries. And with all that said and done, it will be going soon, so if you haven't got it so far, make sure that you get it before it's gone. Then for architecture sets, we obviously have the new Notre Dame coming out, and I think that is probably going to become my new favourite. But in the meantime, the Taj Mahal does have that particular accolade from the architecture range. It's such a beautiful looking thing. Brilliantly done, a little bit repetitive to put together, but once you have completed it, it's just an absolutely fantastic thing to have on display. Obviously, the retail price for this one is £105, $120 and €120, which is actually pretty decent for what this set is. Once again, though, we have seen some reasonable discounts off of it fairly recently. Now, what you want to be doing is strongly considering this not just as a beautiful part of your collection, but also as an investment, because this is forecast well. 45% over the next 3 years based off of that RRP. Now, that's definitely not to be sniffed at. Topping the list, though, for investment ROI is Singapore. Yes, this one has 55% forecast ROI over the next 3 years. And at a pretty good price point, that's no bad thing. £55 the retail, $60, €60 makes this a lot more accessible. It's a great set for display, not one you're going to want to miss out on if you are an architecture collector. And we really have seen the values of some of the architecture sets rocket on the aftermarket post-retirement. And this one is looking like it can certainly do pretty well too. But there we have it. There are, of course, plenty more sets retiring before the end of 2024, but those are the ones that will be gone by around the middle of this year from the Icons, Ideas and Architecture line. Things can move around, so keep your eyes on the comments below. Get involved and comment yourself. Consider liking, hit subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.